안녕하세요. 이용욱입니다. 오늘은 2월 28일, 2월 마지막 날입니다. 밴쿠버 지금 현재 라이브입니다. 1시, 밴쿠버 시각으로 지금 1시 30분입니다. BC주의 BC주 정부가 오늘 올해 새 예산안 2023년과 2024년 새 예산안을 발표하는데 라이브로 지금 1시 30분부터 하기로 했었습니다. 좀 지연돼서 아마 바로 시작할 것 같은데요. 뭐 내용은 상당히 중요한 내용들이 많이 있을 것 같습니다. BC 주민들 입장에서는 상당히 그 중요한 정책들과 내용들이 많이 나올 것 같습니다. 한국은 대부분 이런 경우에 언론사에 미리 사전에 보도자료를 배포를 하고 좀 하는데, 여기는 뭐 그런 거 어떤 특권이나 뭐 이렇게 뭐 세칙 이런 게 없기 때문에 동시에 이제 하게 됩니다. 동시에 하게 되고, 그 내용을 지금 여기 뭐 동포 언론사뿐만 아니라 각 신문사, 여기 뭐 참고로 BC주에는 두 개의 언론사가 있는데 같은 그 계열입니다. 대표적인 신문이 이제 밴쿠버 선이 있고, 일간지입니다. 밴쿠버 선이 있고, 그리고 같은 일간지에 타블로이드 판이 있는데 프로빈스라는 신문이 있습니다. 같은 회사입니다. 같은 그룹에 들어 있습니다. 밴쿠버 선은 뭐 잘 아시다시피 뭐 그나마 이쪽에서는 거의 저명한 신문으로 알려져 있고, 프로빈스는 타블로이드판, 그러니까 우리로 하면 뭐 어떻게 그걸 표현하나요? 그런 신문인데 조금 내용이 좀 소프트하고, 밴쿠버 선이 좀 이제 그 정치나 경제면에 조금 중점을 둔다면, 프로빈스는 아무래도 생활, 라이프 쪽에 관심을 갖고 있는 그런 신문입니다. 논조는 여기는 그래도 언론들이 상당히 그 객관적이고 중립적인 시각으로 많이 보도를 합니다. 물론 뭐 정치 색깔은 분명히 할 때가 많죠. 그리고 밴쿠버에는 캐나다에는 두 개의 방송사가 있는데, 하나는 CBC, 이제 공영방송으로 우리로 하면 한국의 KBS 같은 겁니다. 그리고 CTV라고 또 민영방송이 있는데요. 두 개의 채널이 있습니다. 지금 현재 소리가 나오는 거로 이제 방송 영상 곧 저기 라이브 시작하는 것 같습니다. 함께 보시고요. 지금 제가 화면을 켜고 있는 거는, 화면을 돌리겠습니다. 화면 돌리는 쪽은 CBC입니다. CBC. 라이브 스트림을 보면서 같이 얘기하죠.
Instead of leaving parents to shoulder the cost of childcare, we are saving them hundreds of dollars or more every single month. All the while, we are opening new spaces across the province, because we know that supporting British Columbians will build a stronger province for us all. We can see that in the results to date. Over 3/4 of last year's job growth in BC was driven by women's employment. This is a reflection of our government's work on childcare. It's clear that we can't afford to go back to short-sighted thinking, the kind of thinking that cuts services today while leaving the actual costs for tomorrow. It didn't work before, and it certainly won't work now. When times are tough, that's exactly what you need when you need someone in your corner, defending you from global uncertainty and building a stronger province for everyone. That's why our government will always be there for British Columbians. And it's why we're putting this year's new investments and multi-billion-dollar surplus to work for people. To deliver another round of the BC Affordability Credit and help more people make ends meet. To protect people from evictions and rent hikes while preserving rental buildings. And to support growing cities and towns right across the province with a total of $1 billion in grants. To improve local roads and water facilities and build more community centres, trails, and arenas. Because as someone who is proud to call rural BC home, I know it's not just our large cities facing big changes. That's why these grants are going to all 188 of BC's municipalities and regional districts. This is part of our ongoing work to support rural communities, especially those that rely on BC's forest industry and have been hit hard by the effects of pine beetle and wildfires. Because we are at our strongest when everyone, rural and urban, shares in the benefits of a strong economy. In an uncertain world, you can be certain that our government has your back. Budget 2023 responds to the priorities of British Columbians. We know you want healthcare you can count on. You want more affordable homes built faster. You want help with everyday costs and an economy that is clean and strong. And you want a safer and healthier community. This budget delivers for you. Today we are taking another step forward toward a brighter future for all. Mr. Speaker, people want to know that strong healthcare will be there when they need it. At the same time, coming out of the pandemic, healthcare workers have never been under greater stress. These challenges are not unique to BC. That's why our government and other provinces across the country have been working with Ottawa to help us deliver better healthcare for people. There is more work to do. The federal proposal we received earlier this month provides stable funding for the next generation. Stability is good, but the status quo is not good enough. That's why we're not waiting. Our government is taking action now to deliver better health care for more people. This year's budget builds on the work we've done with an additional $6.4 billion to strengthen and improve health care over the next 3 years. We're continuing to manage COVID-19 and flu levels by supporting the ongoing public health response. And as our population increases and ages, we're adding $2.6 billion over the plan to meet the growing demand for health services, including cancer care. Cancer has touched the lives of almost everyone in BC. Its impact on patients, families, and our struggling healthcare system is one of the greatest challenges we face. A few days ago, we shared new steps to deliver cancer care people can count on for themselves and their loved ones. As part of our fight against cancer, this year's budget commits $270 million over the next 3 years. We're focused on improving access to screening, early detection, diagnosis, and treatment. Because, Mr. Speaker, nobody should be stuck waiting for a test result or urgently needed treatment. We're also increasing compensation for the doctors providing this life-saving care. It's part of our work to recruit and retain more oncologists in British Columbia. We know our healthcare system is only as strong as the people who keep it running. This year's budget delivers a new deal for family doctors and supports BC's healthcare workforce. Nearly $1 billion for our health workforce strategy will recruit, train, and retain workers. We're also adding 1,700 healthcare staff and training 3,000 more graduates. New bursaries and grants will make it more affordable than ever to start a career in healthcare. At the same time, we're adding new resources to get more internationally trained doctors, nurses, and healthcare staff working and off the sidelines. Mr. Speaker, people understand that mental health is health. That's why our government has made the largest investment in mental health and addiction services in BC's history.
지금 연설하시는 분은 컨로이 재무장관.
Primary care centers around the province, which is how most people first access the mental health care they need. And it's why we are building complex care housing for people living with addictions, severe mental health issues, or brain injury. This year's budget will get hundreds more units built and enhance healthcare supports at existing buildings. Our goal is to stop the cycle of evictions, shelters, emergency rooms, and jails for those struggling with mental health and addictions. Because we won't stop working until all British Columbians get the help they need when they need it. Budget delivers more than $1 billion in new funding over 3 years to support services and capital projects for mental health, addictions, and treatment services. Our focus will be on expanding supports across the spectrum of care for people struggling with addiction. We'll do this by expanding the number of treatment and recovery beds, by creating new recovery communities to support those who have gone through treatment, and by delivering wraparound services for youth and more Indigenous treatment centres. This will all feed into our work to develop and implement a new model of seamless care, one that supports people through their entire recovery journey, from detox to treatment to aftercare. We'll begin with new investments in Road to Recovery in partnership with Providence Health and Vancouver Coastal Health. Our goal will be to expand the initiatives to other regions. People may have heard of the Redfish Healing Centre in Coquitlam on the site of the old Riverview Hospital. It's a first of its kind facility in North America. At Redfish, complex mental illness and addictions are treated simultaneously. With this year's budget, we will expand the Redfish model of care across the province with regional facilities so more people have access to those services closer to home. Almost 1 month ago, BC became the first province to decriminalize people who use drugs, so they feel able to come forward to family, friends, and medical professionals to seek help. We're saving lives and delivering more services and supports at an unprecedented rate because, Mr. Speaker, all of us know someone who has struggled or is struggling with an addiction. It could be a brother, sister, friend, or parent. We also know that a health response is needed, not just a criminal justice one. This budget will provide specialized health care for people who need it. When we think of what it means to build a good life in British Columbia, an affordable home is at the top of the list. For too long, the housing market worked well for investors, speculators, and banks, but it did not work for everyday people. After 5.5 years of work by our government, we are starting to see results. 40,000 homes are built or underway. Construction of new rental housing is at record levels, 7 times what it was a decade ago. In just the past few months, we removed unfair strata restrictions that keep rentals empty. And we're setting new housing targets with local governments to keep pace with BC's strong population growth. Still, Mr. Speaker, new pressures coming out of the pandemic have left too many people struggling to find a decent home, even if they earn a good income. That needs to change, and it will. This year's budget will invest $4.2 billion to deliver homes of all kinds for all British Columbians.
역시 예상대로 정신건강 등 의료하고 조금 주택 정책 강화하죠. 렌탈.
It is centered around a bold housing action plan, one that builds on our work and takes new steps to deliver more homes for middle-class families, for Indigenous peoples, for renters, and for those in greatest need. We'll clear the way for more housing with zoning changes and a faster permitting process. And we'll make major new investments to increase housing and services near public transit hubs around the province. Our plan will also help to ease pressure on local rental markets by building thousands more student housing spaces. This is on top of the nearly 8,000 student beds already open or underway.
NLP가 굉장히 사회복지적인 정책을 추진하는 정당이기 때문에 저소득층 지원 쪽으로 상당히 많이
College's campus in Kelowna, Vernon, and Salmon Arm, to tripling the number of student homes at Abbotsford University of the Fraser Valley, and I can't forget my own stomping grounds. A few months ago, we started work on new homes for students at Suffolk College's, Castlegar, and Nelson campuses. And the best part, these are all built using mass timber technology, which creates jobs and helps reduce carbon pollution. Mr. Speaker, it's clear that homelessness is no longer just a big city issue. What we see happening in communities and on streets throughout the province isn't good for anyone, least of all for people who are living on the street or in dangerous encampments. This year's budget will fund more supportive housing and strengthen existing programs which help vulnerable people keep their homes. We're adding hundreds more units of complex care housing And we're creating new regional teams to help any community dealing with a major encampment. Mr. Speaker, whether I'm in Victoria or at home in the Kootenays, I often hear the same thing from my neighbours. People in BC are working harder than ever, but many feel like they're just getting by, not getting ahead. And if you're renting your home, as almost 1/3 of British Columbians are, every month can feel like a stretch. Never mind saving up for a down payment. I hear you. Our government is working for you. Whether you're a young person looking for your first home away from home, a family wanting more space, or a senior enjoying your retirement years. While some things, like interest rates, are out of our control, we can make other things, a little better. That's why we launched a new $500 million rental protection fund to safeguard people against evictions and rent hikes while we're protecting rental buildings for many years to come. It's why we are making new investments in BC housing to upgrade older rental buildings while adding thousands of new rental homes. And Mr. Speaker, it's why we are introducing a new renter's tax credit. The new income-tested credit will put as much as $400 back into the pockets of low and moderate income renters. We expect this benefit will benefit more than 80% of renters right across BC. The renter's tax credit is just one way we are helping people with the cost of daily life. We're freezing basic car insurance rates for another 2 years. And we provided a $100 credit to reduce everyone's power bill. More than 85% of people received the BC Affordability Credit in January, with some families getting up to $410. And just days ago, we announced another BC Affordability Credit coming in April. Adults will receive up to $164 more and children up to $41 more. But we know there's much more work to do. Alongside putting money back in people's pockets, a total of $4.5 billion in this year's budget will help with the rising cost of essentials. And when it comes to essentials, having full control over your reproductive rights is at the top of the list. All too often, these fundamental rights are under attack, but not here in BC. Starting April 1st, prescription birth control is going to be free in British Columbia.
의료 주택 정책에 이어서 저소득층의 생활지원 렌트비 보조 크레딧 지원책을 또 4월 달에 한다고 지금 박수 치는 의사당인데요. 되게 좋아들 합니다.
We know cost varies, but it really adds up. For someone who pays $25 a month for birth control pills, that's $300 a year in savings, and as much as $10,000 in savings over their lifetime. Mr. Speaker, as a mom of 2 daughters and 5 granddaughters, I know the effect this is going to have on people's lives in our province. This is a win for health, and it's a win for gender equity in our province, and it's about time. The days of passing down these costs to women, trans, and non-binary people are coming to an end. For the families who feel like they are just getting by and never getting ahead, we're here for you. This year's budget delivers an important and permanent lift to the BC Family Benefit, a 10% increase. Now parents will receive up to $1,750 for the first child, $1,100 for the second, and $900 for the third. For a family with 2 kids, the extra $250 per year can help buy healthy food, pay bills, and enroll kids in extracurricular activities. On top of the 10% increase, single parents will get as much as an extra $500 a year. Because while global inflation is stretching most household budgets, it can be really tough for those already struggling to make ends meet. To tackle food insecurity, we're providing stable funding to expand local school food programs so any child who needs a meal gets one.
네, 저소득층 지원에서 가정 패밀리 지원책도 지금 계속 발표를 하고 있고요.
And for post-secondary students, we are doubling the student loan maximums and increasing the amount students can make before they need to start repaying their loans. To help British Columbians relying on income and disability assistance to make ends meet, we are providing more support. Income and disability rates will be increased, including a 33% lift to the shelter rate.
Make ends meet 자주 나오죠? Make ends meet.
2017. And we expect it'll benefit about 160,000 people, including 33,000 children, and help reduce homelessness. There's always more to do. That's why we're beginning engagement to update our poverty reduction strategy for March 2024. All too often, Mr. Speaker, the work of caregivers is not given the respect or compensation that it deserves. This goes back to my previous life as a children and families. To foster parents and those who look after some of BC's most vulnerable people, thank you. You are changing lives, and we are here to support you. Starting this year, foster families will see their rates increase by 47%. This will help cover the costs of rising essentials like food, gas, and clothing, because youth and kids in care deserve every opportunity to thrive. Just as people need to know a good life is in reach in BC, they need to feel safe in their home and community. And Budget 2023 backs our Safer Communities Action Plan with a commitment of $462 million over 3 years. On the enforcement side, we're adding 250 more RCMP members to help keep people safe, especially in rural BC. We're implementing new response teams to track, arrest, and prosecute repeat violent offenders. These teams are made up of police, dedicated prosecutors, and probation officers. To improve access to justice, we're continuing to update the Police Act and adding more resources to the BC Human Rights Tribunal. And over the next 2 years, another 10 Indigenous Justice Centres will open their doors. This is in addition to those already serving people in Prince George, Prince Rupert, Merritt, and online through an innovative virtual centre. Addressing the overrepresentation of Indigenous people in the justice system is a top priority, both for our government and for the BC First Nations Justice Council. Together, we can break the cycle of jail and release. It begins with addressing the poverty, trauma, and health issues that brought the person to the justice system in the first place. Mr. Speaker, when a person's violent or disruptive behavior results from mental health and substance use, they need support to get better. In addition to significant new investments across the spectrum of care, this year's budget will expand the number of mental health crisis response teams. This includes integrated mobile teams like the successful CARD 87 program in Vancouver, which pairs up a police officer with a health worker. Budget 2023 includes new funding to expand operating hours for the existing peer-assisted care teams on the North Shore and in Victoria and Westminster. And it'll expand teams to new communities, beginning with 3 new communities this year. Budget also provides funding to engage on Indigenous-led civilian crisis responses services. So people in crisis are met early on by healthcare workers and people who understand what they're going through. This will also free up police to focus on stopping crimes, which makes us all safer. As we prepare for another year of strong population growth, it's clear that BC's strong and clean economy is attracting talent from around the world. That's a good thing. We're forecasting 1 million job openings in the next decade. People see opportunity here. I couldn't agree more. We weathered the pandemic with one of the strongest recoveries in Canada. Vancouver's tech sector is growing at the highest rate in North America. Last year, we had record-breaking mineral exploration. Funding for a new critical mineral strategy in this year's budget will continue to support the sector. BC is ready to deliver the essential materials needed to help transition away from fossil fuels and grow a clean economy. Materials like copper for conducting wind power, nickel for batteries in electric cars, and so much more. And we'll continue to deliver while meeting BC's exceptionally high standards. With global uncertainty on the horizon and 1 million jobs to fill in the next decade, the safest bet we can make is on the people of BC, and that is what we're going to do. Mr. Speaker, this year's budget supports our government's Future Ready plan coming this spring. It's a plan to grow the most inclusive and talent-driven workforce in Canada, and it responds to one of the biggest challenges we're hearing from businesses: better access to more highly skilled workers. To start, we're attracting new talent by speeding up the recognition of foreign credentials so internationally trained professionals can get to work rather than sitting on the sidelines. I think of Monique, who started her nursing career in the Philippines. She now has a good job caring for patients in BC, but the path wasn't straightforward. Monique is excited about our government's changes to make it easier and faster for qualified, internationally educated nurses to work in our province. In Monique's words, it will create more opportunities for skilled professionals like her, and to quote, to establish lives here too. This will benefit everyone in BC because more nurses means better healthcare. And I couldn't agree more. We are grateful to Monique and so many others who are using their skills and talents to make BC a better place. Mr. Speaker, we're also training the next generation of workers with thousands more seats in high-demand fields, from healthcare to tech and veterinary medicine to early childhood education. And we're focused on getting more people with multiple barriers and underrepresented groups into the work.
예, 새 예산 가운데 64억 달러를 새로 투입을 해서 멘탈 헬스 케어와
Programming and software development to trades, manufacturing, and aquaculture. The new grant will help people access the skills they need to succeed today and in the years to come. At the same time, Mr. Speaker, we recognize businesses have faced their share of difficulties, whether it's uncertainty brought on by COVID-19, global inflation, or a growing labor shortage. These are major and ongoing challenges, and responding to these needs is a key part of our Future Ready plan. We'll provide new funding to help small and medium-sized businesses implement solutions to today's labor market challenges and prepare for a changing economy. Because businesses aren't just going to weather today's storm, they're going to come out of it stronger, backed by the diversity, skills, and unique strengths from people right across the province. Mr. Speaker, when we think of tomorrow's economy, sustainability and innovation are top of mind. In a world shaped by climate change, not only is this a necessity, it's a competitive advantage, and BC is more than ready to deliver. This year's budget includes more than $1 billion over the next 3 years to fight climate change by building more climate-resilient communities. Communities that will stand strong in any emergency, whether it be wildfires, heat waves, or atmospheric rivers. New investments this year will increase BC's emergency management capacity and help buy more firefighting equipment. Mr. Speaker, we must prepare for a changing climate, but we must also do our part to fight climate change, because the cost of doing nothing, or not enough, is too high for people and our environment. And we will, guided by our government's Clean BC Roadmap to 2030. It's a continent-leading plan to reduce emissions while creating family-supporting jobs and strong communities. Budget 2023 builds on our Clean BC commitments with new targeted investments in active transportation networks across the province. Additionally, the popular Clean BC Go Electric program will continue, as will pilot projects for heavy-duty electric vehicles so transportation-based industries can shift away from fossil fuels. BC has always been a leader in climate change and will continue to be in the years ahead, because fighting climate change will take all of us working together. Our Clean BC plan is a key part of Canada's plan, which is part of a global solution to reduce emissions. But ordinary British Columbians, who are already struggling with rising costs, can't bear the cost burden alone. That's why we eliminated the largest subsidy to big oil and gas companies and put the money back to work for people. And that's why, as the price on pollution rises, so too will the Climate Action Tax Credit. Budget 2023 will deliver more money to more households through an enhanced Climate Action Tax Credit. Where a family of 4 would have received a total of $500 last year, that same family will receive almost $900 starting in July. In 2030, we expect a significant majority of people who receive the credit will actually receive more than what they pay in carbon tax costs. Mr. Speaker, people here understand that our natural landscape is a source of incredible beauty. It's also a wealth of economic opportunity when done sustainably and responsibly. And it's where we see the results of a new approach to reconciliation with Indigenous peoples. Whether it's new agreements with Blueberry River First Nations and other Treaty 8 nations that find a new balance of environmental restoration and resource development, or it's the first consent-based decision-making agreement under the Declaration Act with the Tahltan. Because we know what doesn't work. Endless court battles, short-term transactional relationships, litigation instead of negotiation and collaboration. The future lies in rights-based partnership approach to decisions respecting land, water, and resource stewardship. That is where we are focusing our work. To advance our work on old growth and forest stewardship, we are tripling the number of forest landscape planning tables, including 8 new planning tables. This will provide greater opportunity for First Nations, local communities, workers, and industry to come together and plan for the future of land management. We're also ramping up our investments to support innovation in the forest industry. Just a few weeks ago, we doubled the BC Manufacturing Jobs Fund to 180 million and opened it up to projects from around the province. This will help mills move away from old growth logs and towards higher value-added wood projects like mass timber. Mr. Speaker, when natural resource projects meet our high standards, we want shovels in the ground quickly. And delays are just unnecessary barriers to growth. This year's budget will help speed up the permitting process for natural resources because delays cost money and they slow down our transition to a clean energy future. Through this year's budget, about 160 new staff will help move key resource and infrastructure projects forward, from connectivity to electrification and hydrogen power. They will also help reform the system so that it works better and faster while maintaining BC's high standards. We know that anything built today must meet the demands of a changing climate and growing population. It's a high bar, and BC is ready to meet it. With the largest infrastructure investment in our province's history. If you're looking for good family-supporting work, British Columbia is the place to be. We're creating jobs by building hospitals from Lionsgate to Stewart Lake, by building schools in fast-growing areas, by building a fast, reliable transit network, including the Broadway subway and the Surrey-Langley SkyTrain, and by building homes for generations of British Columbians. No matter...
정부가 적자를 보더라도요.
No matter where you live, be it rural or urban, there will be opportunities for you and your family. Brick by brick and board by board, we are building a brighter future for everyone who calls our province home. Because if there's one thing we have learned through these challenging years, it's this. Going it alone doesn't work. We are all in this together. A neighbor's success is your success. A strong rural BC is our entire province's success. And a growing, secure, and clean economy is a success for everyone today and in the years ahead. These are your priorities, and they're ours too. We are all better off when a good life is in reach for those who call BC home. That is a better, brighter future we all believe in, and that is the future Budget 2023 delivers. Thank you.
네, 버짓 스피치 재무장관이 연설을 다 끝냈어요. BC주 의사당 내에 저렇게 의석이 양쪽으로 갈라져 있어서 왼쪽이 NDP 지금 서서 지금 박수 치는 분이 데이빗 이비 수상이고 오른쪽에 좀 표정이 좀 좀 떡시분처럼 보이는 쪽이 이제 BC 리버럴이죠. 정통적으로 이렇게 양쪽이 번갈아 집권을 합니다.
Member for Kamloops, North Thompson.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker, and it's nice after 3 weeks of sitting in this chamber to finally have something of substance to debate.
이것까지는 안 봐도 될 것 같은데, 그죠?
Mr. Speaker, it is a privilege. It is a privilege to stand here once again and deliver the initial responses on behalf of the official opposition on Budget 2020.
여기까지는 뭐 보지
I would
말죠.
like to thank the Minister and her staff for their work to bring this budget
안 봐도 될 것 같아요.
both as a collective of electeds, but also for the broader public to be able to dive into and see just what this government is thinking over the next, not just this year, but the next 2 fiscal years.
이게 저기 뭐 이렇게 동시 통역을 해 드렸으면 좋겠는데 그럴 형편은 안 되고 또 그럴 실력도 안 되고 그냥 그 요약해서 이제 보기 쉽게 나중에 또 따로 알려드리겠습니다. 많이 들으셔서 아시겠지만 BC주 지금 현재 BC주의 집권당인 NDP는 New Democratic Party, 그러니까 우리로 하면 신자유당 되죠. 신민주당이 됩니다. 사회적 뭐 굳이 요즘 뭐 그런 거 따지진 않는데 이념적 스펙트럼을 따지자면 약간 사회주의적 성향, 그게 한국에서는 좀 다른 의미로 들려지는데 조금 더 이제 굳이 이제 양분하자면 진보 쪽에 가까운 정당입니다. 성장보다는 분배에 초점을 맞추는 그런 정당입니다. 그래서 뭐 앞으로 3년간 이 적자를 정부 예산을 적자로 편성을 해서라도 지출을 확대하겠다. 뭐 이유는 팬데믹 이후와 또 고물가 때문에 고통받고 있는 서민들을 위한 지원 정책을 강화하겠다. 그래서 특히 이제 지금 현재 수상인 데이비드 이비가 흔히 말하는 그 위의 사람들, 여기 밴쿠버 이스트 사이드에 가면 정신질환, 아까도 계속해서 저희 의료 부분 중에서 특별히 이제 강조하는 부분이 그런 거죠. 이렇게 중독이나 어딕션이라고 해서 뭐 마약 중독이나 또 그리고 이제 정신병원에 가야 되는 분들, 멘탈 헬스 쪽에 중점을 두겠다. 그게 이제 이쪽 밴쿠버를 포함한 BC주가 세계에서 살기 좋은 도시임에는 분명하지만 그런 면에서 사회적으로 열악한 계층들이 있다. 그래서 로우 인컴과 어린이 키우는 저소득 가정에 지원하기 위한 예산을 많이 증폭을 했습니다. 뭐 아까도 계속 들으셨겠지만 크레딧을 주겠다. 뭐 지난 말에도 1월 달에도 크레딧을 받으신 분들이 계실 거예요. BC 하이드로 빌도 100불 더 하고 뭐 이렇게 해서 계속 지원책을 하고 있고, 그 다음에 어제 잠깐 말씀드렸지만 ICBC 이제 보험료도 이제 한 100불 정도 크레딧을 주겠다. 그러니까 요즘 뭐 고물가에 또 기름값도 비싸고 하니까 아무래도 힘들죠. 그래서 골고루 나누어서 작지만 받는 분들의 입장에서는 뭐 좀 너무 작다고 할 수도 있는데 골고루 나누어서 적자 예산을 편성해서 BC 주민들에게 나눠주겠다는 게 핵심이고요. 그리고 이제 의료 정책은 이제 그런 면이 있었고, 그 다음에 뭐 차일드 케어 쪽에서 얼마를 지원한다, 뭐 10불씩 한다는 이거는 내용은 좀 더 구체적인 걸 요약을 해서 표로 만들면 될 텐데, 제 방송이 명식이 부동산 방송이니까 정치 방송도 아니고 또 사회 소셜 워크 방송도 아니니까 아까 잠깐 나온 것 중에 제가 이게 요약을 하다 보니까 주택 정책에 관련해서도 상당히 많은 것들을 배려를 했습니다. 특히 이제 저소득층이니까 렌트 쪽에 많이 했었죠. 그런데 지금 BC 중부가 강조하는 것은 집값이 너무 비싸고 렌트비가 너무 비싸고 하니까 조금 이제 완화시키기 위해서, 그러니까 이제 구입 여력이라든지 이런 걸 완화시키기 위해서 아까 말씀하기는 뭐 지금 집을 좀 더 짓는데 인구 증가가 많이 일어나니까 렌탈 마켓 쪽에 좀 많이 강화를 하겠다. 그래서 이제 렌트 제한도 없앴죠. 뭐 수치는 큰 의미가 없는데 뭐 BC의 건축 프로그램을 강화하기 위해서 한 17억 달러를 편성하겠다, 그렇게 얘기했던 것 같고, 그 다음에 이제 아무래도 저소득층에 초점을 맞추고 그러다 보니까 이분들이 투기 같은 거는 못 봐주겠다 이거죠. 그래서 이제 스페큘레이션 텍스하고 베이컨시 텍스를 좀 강화할 것 같고요. 그래서 지금 뭐 이렇게 예산은 계속 집행을 하는데 우리가 현재 지금 그 주택 정책 중에 기대하고 있던 몇 가지 정책이 지금 아직은 발표는 안 됐습니다. 곧 발표를 하겠죠. 예, 그 내용이 좀 들어 있고, 그 다음에 이제 렌트 지원도 있어요. 그거는 이제 해당 사항이 이제 저소득층이어야 되는데 렌트 보조 지원이 있고, 특히 이제 그 홈리스들을 지원하기 위해서 여러 가지 예산과 정책을 많이 편성을 했습니다. 그리고 여전히 뭐 우리 이 사회의 그 안전은 중요하니까 헬스케어 시스템 외에도 치안 강화를 위해서 인력과 예산을 투입하겠다는 발표가 있었고, 그리고 이제 각 지자체별로 이제 그 예산이 따로 편성이 되겠지만, 그 RCMP, 여기 경찰은, 캐나다의 경찰 시스템은 RCMP라고요. 그 한국에서 어떤 데는 뭐 그 로얄 기병 이게 좀 웃긴데 로얄 캐네디언 마운티드 폴리스 이렇게 하니까 어떤 한국 사이트는 뭐 왕립 기마 경찰대 뭐 이런 거 하는데, 여기 캐나다의 그 공식 경찰, 그러니까 치안을 담당하고 있는 연방정부의 치안을 담당하고 있는 폴리스의 정식 명칭이 RCMP입니다. 왕당파, 그러니까 영국 여왕의 충성을 맹세하던 그 왕당파가 이주한 캐나다가 프랑스에서 이주한 퀘벡에 있는 프랑스에서 이주한 이주민들과 이제 연합해서 만든 나라가 캐나다니까, RCMP라고 전체를 관할하는 경찰이 있고, 그 다음에 각 지역별로 이제 그 자체 경찰이 있습니다. 자체 경찰이 있는데, 대표적으로 밴쿠버가 있고, 여기 뉴웨스트민스터가 있고, 또 포트무드가 있죠. 치안이 좀 강화될 경우에는 이제 RCMP는 아무래도 연방 전체의 경찰이니까 지역에 좀 그럴 수 있다 해서 이제 하는데, 이게 원래는 오래전부터 이렇게 해안가를 위주로 포트무드라든가 밴쿠버나 또는 뉴웨스트민스터 같은 경우는 이 해안을 통해서 침략하는 적군이라든가 아니면 뭐 이렇게 범죄들이 많으니까 RCMP가 형성되기 전에 자체적으로 이제 한국식으로 아니 미국식으로 한 보안관이죠. 그런 체제들이 있었는데, 각 지자체별로 예산을 따로 편성을 해서 전직 RCMP 출신이라든가 경찰을 고용을 합니다. 그러다 보니까 각 지자체에서 RCMP 이게 참 문제인 게 뭐냐면, 한 해에 50만 명씩 목표로 해서 3년간 150만 명이 오면 인구는 북적대고 치안은 당연히 어렵죠. 그러니까 경찰을 증원을 하는 겁니다. RCMP 공권력을 증원하게다 보니까 또 예산이 필요하겠죠. 또 거기에 대한 투자를 하게 되니까 이제 각 지방자치단체는 그 인력 비용 때문에 재산세를 올릴 수밖에 없어요. 그러니까 지금 이제 각 살고 계신 데에서 이제 재산세가 이제 프로포즈 돼서 이제 승인을 받을 텐데, 지금 밴쿠버는 9.7인가 그렇고, 포트무드는 11.33%고, 나머지 뭐 코키틀람, 뭐 버나비 이런 쪽은 한 5.6% 채 안 되는 것 같고요. 저쪽 BC 내륙 쪽은 뭐 17%까지 재산세를 올리는 그 자치단체가 있습니다. 소리도 뭐 최근에 뭐 굉장히 많이 올린다 그러는데, 아직 그는 어떻게 프로포즈 돼 승인된지 아직 그렇고요. 이제 그 얘기가 나왔고, 그리고 이제 뭐 아무래도 여기는 환경을 중시하니까 환경보호 관련해서 또 예산을 편성을 했고, 그 다음에 이제 아무래도 BC주가 성장을 하려면 이제 경제가 중요한데, 숙련 근로자를 유치하기 위해서 또 예산을 또 편성을 하고, 이런 올해 예산에 주로 뭐 적자를 보더라도 내년에는 좀 적자를 규모를 줄인다고 하는데, 그 예산을 편성을 했고요. 그리고 지금 아까 얘기한 거는 내년도까지 $42억 적자, 그리고 그 후년에는 38억 달러, 그 후에 이제 3년 뒤에는 이제 뭐 30억 달러 이렇게 해서 이제 점점 규모를 줄여간다는 건데, 지출 규모를 그러니까 이제 지금 주택 정책에 관한 자세한 내용이 지금 스피치에는 안 담겨 있으니까 요약이니까요. 그게 나오면 이제 해야 될 텐데, 핵심은 정부가 BC 주정부가 재정 지출을 확대하겠다. 이유는 경기가 너무 어렵고 고물가에 시달리는 어려워하는 주민들이 너무 많다. 따라서 정부가 예산을 계속 풀겠다. 어느 정도 선까지는. 물론 뭐 작년 재작년까지만 해도 그 부동산 거래를 통한 취득세 규모가 크죠. 흑자가 돈이 뭐 좀 풀 수 있는 돈은 있는 거로 그렇게 생각이 듭니다. 그래서 풀겠다는 거고요. 그거 지금 오늘 그 발표까지 나와야 되는데 지금 방송을 끊어서 제가 이제 요약을 해서 주택 관련 내용은 따로 요약을 해서 방송을 요약을 알려드릴 텐데, 잠깐 광고를 좀 하겠습니다. 왜냐면 저도 먹고 살아야 되니까. 어제 방송 이후에 그 개발사에서 좀 더 자세한 내용을 좀 보내왔습니다. 그래서 화면을 좀 돌려가지고요, 후원사인 저의 후원사인 디벨로퍼의 홍보 내용을 잠깐 보고 다시 방송하겠습니다. 이게 이제 배경 화면인데, 먼저 보이시나요? 랭리, 이게 하면 랭리의 웨스트브룩 관련 내용입니다. 지난 토요일 날 그랜드 오프닝을 하고 지금 많이들 팔렸어요. 많이 팔렸는데 지금 현재 가격대 이제 어태치돼, 그러니까 차고가 집이랑 붙어 있는 집 6채하고, 그 다음에 가라지가 따로 떨어져 있는 것, 그거 10채하고 이렇게 해서 파는데 많이들 뭐 계약을 했다고 합니다. 총 15%의 디포짓이 필요하고, 그 다음에 완공 날짜는 조금씩 틀려요. 올 여름 8월, 그리고 뭐 9월, 내년도 1월도 있군요. 예. 요런 내용이 있습니다. 요거 좀 홍보를 해야 돼. 광고용이고 혹시 관심 있으신 분들은 연락 주십니다. 저를 통해서 하시면 좀 더 방송이 알찰 수 있도록 투자가 많이 되지 않을까, 그렇게 예상을 합니다. 다음 화면은 코키틀람 웨스트 코키틀람 웨스트 지역에 이제 원래는 작년 12월에, 지난해 12월에 이제 분양을 하려고 그랬는데 늦어진 겁니다. 2024년 가을에 이제 완공 예정인 이제 파크사이드, 로빈슨 파크사이드라고 이제 저층 아파트가 있는데 타운홈하고, 이제 그게 지금 어떻게 연락이 왔냐면은, 이거는 그랜드 오프닝은 이번 주 토요일 날 합니다. 이번 주 토요일 날 하는데, 보이시나요? 제가 자꾸 얼굴이 들어가네. 토요일 날 하는데, 원베드룸 코트야드를 바라보는 쪽이 576스퀘어피트짜리가 57만 9,900부터 시작합니다. 이것도 가서 보면 더 올라 있죠. 그거는 예상하셔야 됩니다. 그 다음에 투베드룸은 74만 9,900, 면적은 850스퀘어피트 정도 되고, 그 다음에 2 플러스 데이는 97만 5,900, 면적은 1153입니다. 그리고 거기에 이제 코트야드로 되는 것 중에 100만 불 넘어가는 것도 있습니다. 3베드룸 타운홈은 이제 1,400이 제일 작은데 129만 9천부터 시작을 합니다. 되게 싸게 보입니다. 늦게 보입니다. 그죠? 아닌가요? 요즘 분양되는 거에 비해서 싼데, 여기에도 좀 함정이 있습니다. 뭐냐? 에어컨디션을 설치하려면 2만 불 따로 들어야 됩니다. 그 다음에 카펫을 라미네이트로 바꾸려면 또 비용이 또 있습니다. 그 다음에 스킴에 따라서 조금 다른데, 여기에 뭐 윌슨은 칼라를 윌슨을 택하면 7,500에서 10,000불 정도 더 든다고 합니다. 다만 이제 지금 하시면은 한 5,000불 상당의 EV 파킹 설치해주고, 그 다음에 원 스토리지 락커 한 3,000불 상당 이거 끼워주고, 뭐 그렇다고 해요. 디포짓은 총 15%, 총 15%가 필요합니다. 5%. 그래서 4번에 걸쳐서 내고, 4번에 걸쳐서 내면 처음에 5,000불 이니셜로 하는 거가 있습니다. 그래서 이게 이번 주 토요일 날 하는데 관심 있으신 분은 연락 주십시오. 그리고 세 번째가 아니죠. 이게 어떤 단지냐면 요겁니다. 요렇게 만들어진다. 파크사이드 컬렉션이 요렇게 타운홈이 이루어진다 이거고요. 그리고 여기 표로는 제가 말씀드릴 수 없는데 버나비의 그 폴리곤이 짓는 콘도, 그거는 원베드룸이 64만 9,900부터 시작한다고 합니다. 광고했으니까요. 혹시 관심 있으신 분은 이메일이나 카톡이나 문자나 주시면 제가 알고 있는 정보들을 제가 바로 알려드리도록 하겠습니다. 그 시간이 너무 많이 길어졌는데요. 방송 내용은 뭐 같이 봤으니까 질문사항이 있으면 질문을 받으려고 그랬는데 여러분들 다 샤이 하신지 질문은 없네요. 지금 현재 5분이 계시네요. 7분이 계신가? 7분이 계십니다. 질문은 없습니다. 내용 요약해서 제가 다시 한번 올려드리도록 하겠습니다. 지금 제가 다음 일정이 있어서 BC주정부의 주택 관련 정책은 요약을 해서 설명이 필요하면 또 방송을 제작하도록 하겠습니다. 그러면 시청해 주신 여러분 감사드리고요. 끝나기 전에 그거는 있습니다. 어제 방송 나오고 상담 문의 전화가 하나 왔는데, 커미션 같은 걸 좀 민감하지 않습니까? 전화로 하지 마시고 만나서 얘기하시면 됩니다. 그거 괜히 그거는 아닌 것 같습니다. 그럼 오늘은 여기까지 하겠습니다. 인사를 이쪽으로 해야죠. 예, 오늘은 여기까지 하겠습니다. 오늘 밴쿠버로 눈 오다가 지금 그치고 이제는 더 이상 눈 오지 않을 것 같습니다. 문의사항 있으시면 언제든지 알려주시고 제가 오늘 나온 내용을 문서로 만들어서 문자로 해서 알려드리도록 하겠습니다. 감사합니다. 또 뵙겠습니다. 안녕히 계십시오. 이게 어디로 가나?